What's up guys, welcome back for another Yugioh Pro Duel video. Okay, let me get this straight. Cyberstein, as you know, with the new TCG ban list, Cyberstein for whatever reason got unbanned and the TCG immediately put back at 1 after like 10ish years or more, I think. You know, emergency ban list years ago. Anyway, for whatever reason they decided to bring back Cyberstein, and Stein isn't really the card that like promotes healthy game states, healthy format, since there is like no thing that justifies Konami bringing back the Stein. I mean, I can't imagine any metagame or format or deck or archetype that's like, or when I'm like, man, Cyberstein, that's such a healthy card, glad they brought this one back. No, that doesn't make sense. It's just a matter of time that Cyberstein is eventually going to be abused, and the big difference between us TCG players and the OCG, where Stein is still legal, right, after years, and where it wasn't really a problem, is the danger archetype. I mean, like more than half of this deck is Upstart Goblin. We remember Konami hitting Upstart 2-1? Well, whatever, they just make an archetype that states, activate this, a big body on board, getting the extra Upstart Goblin as well. It just doesn't make sense. Add in like a small drop package of triple allure, triple beginning of the end, card destruction of course. I mean, you have a super consistent deck, and okay, the deck is fragile to, let's say, draw and lock bird, as it was, you know, with slash draw FTK, but no. Well, yeah, it's definitely weak to draw, but still, your opponent has to hard draw it if you go first, that is, and you can definitely play around multiple other hand traps like Impermanence, Ash Blossom, Ghost Ogre, etc, etc. There are multiple ways, multiple versions already featured on multiple websites. I'll leave the link to the original original video in the video description. Again, credit, since this is not my, this is not my thought process, or well, some things as some adaptations or changes to the extra deck is that the big problem, I think, still is the extra deck dedication. I want to dedicate as few cards possible for Cyberstein. So Triple Blaze Phoenix, Naturia Exterior as somewhat of a backup, and the Coach Trainer. Well, you know, the rank 8 XC that can give you some extra draws and also deal burn damage. That can be important if Blaze Phoenix is not enough off of the Stein. The combo is very easy. Again, you're playing like 20 to 25 Upstart Goblins in your deck, and it's very similar to Slash Draw FTK, and I'm just referring to danger shenanigans, getting those extra draws. And Saryuja, again, for whatever reason, Saryuja is still at 3, it's not once per turn. Again, that would already solve a lot of problems. The deck is of course, or the combo, or well, you know, it's just featured around 2 cards, being the Cyberstein, of course, and the field spell. Well, you have 2 possibilities. You have the field spell, I believe the card is called Brain Research Lab, and the other is a continuous spell, like telekinetic, you know which one I mean. It doesn't really matter which one you use. And of course, you're using the link to Dinosaur here, making your Cyberstein a psychic type, and then thanks to your field spell, your fusions are free, so you don't have to pay for Cyberstein. Again, getting Blaze Phoenix on the field, and you know, Blaze Phoenix deals burn damage equal to the amount of cards you have on your side of the field. I think you have to like at least have 7 cards on your side of the field to deal enough damage, especially with the Coach Trainer, the rank 8 exceed as well, giving you potential 3 extra draws and some extra burn damage for each, I believe, monster you reveal off of its draw effects. And the combo is quite consistent. I mean, Stein and the field spell, it's not that hard at least in a deck where like more than half of the deck is Upstart Goblin and has access to triple beginning of the end, giving you 3 draws, triple allure, triple pot of greed basically, and triple Saryuja. It's just insane. And this time going second, I mean, you definitely want to go first and kind of pray your opponent doesn't have the draw and lock, but that doesn't change. If your opponent has draw and lock, there isn't really anything you can do. But if it's not drawn unlock, you can definitely play around other hand traps like Impermanence, Ash Blossom, etc, etc. Here in this situation, going second, the opponent having, I believe, 3 potential negates, and still, well, you can just force them out. If you go second, having the extra card definitely helps out, and then, you know, you force out their back row with Phoenix or, well, the danger cards, I guess. Using Stein eventually, and Blaze Phoenix does enough burn damage, so I don't really have to go into the battle phase and attack for game, since it again doesn't make sense, right? What were they thinking? Going first again. Basically, that's the same combos, right? It all comes down to the fact, are you able to draw into Stein, which again is not that hard, and of course Yugioh having that extra special summon effect, which is also not once per turn, if you can just get an extra copy here. Make sure that Stein is like under one of those extra monster zones because of the Link 2 dinosaur, targeting it and making it a psychic type. Very important to get those free fusion summons, and again, it's quite consistent. Your opponent needs to have that drawn unlock word. For example, in case of Impermanence, Impermanence is not enough. Okay, they will stop the Blaze Phoenix FTK part of the deck, but you can still, at least you still have enough cards, right? Still have enough possibilities to eventually put Stein back on board, use the effect for Exterio, and as you know, Exterio negating spells, traps, and as you know, the good old school combo of Curious into basically any floodgate trap card, as in this case it was Imperial Order, but, well, depends on the side deck, right? But Eradicator can also be important, like now, activated during your opponent's turn if your matchup is either Sky Striker or Alter Geist in the new TCG format, both very huge decks, and of course, as you know, Eradicator either calling spells or traps is super devastating against those decks. And of course, Eradicator is searchable off of Curious, right? So again, the biggest downside of this deck is of course Drawn Unlock Bird being the superb hand trap against this deck. Other than that, there isn't really much your opponent can do other than hope that you kinda brick, I guess. As for the side deck, as you saw, I mean, I saw other builds, as in putting like a Gustav Max in their extra deck, more fusion monsters as well, but I think this is the minimal you can do, only adding in 3 Blaze Phoenix, the Coach, Trainer, right rank 8, dealing some extra burn damage, and the Exterio for the potential backup, I guess. And that leaves you with some extra spots for, you know, generic Link monsters. Boriload, if you want, I guess you'll be siding those. I mean, game 2 or game 3, where you might want to, like, side out, like, burn cards or maybe less consistent cards and add in, like, Boral Sword or Boriload Dragon in your extra deck. Those are all definitely options. That's the beautiful part of this deck. Game 1, this is very strong. Game 2, game 3, this might be weak, but you still have the advantage of side decking and potential smoke screening, either keeping in the FTK or, you know, hard side deck it out. So that's still one of those options, but it needs more testing, as in other options to somewhat lure your opponent or maybe change your main deck strategy. Anyway, so I believe this is the last example, but again, it's basically the same, guys. Everything. Just gain those multiple draws, draw into Cyberstein, go for Frankenderp, I believe the name is. Perfect name for this kind of deck. It doesn't make sense. Why do they bring back Stein? It's not a card that's it's not like Tribe Infecting Virus, like very hard to say that in 2019, right? But it's just. Why? It doesn't make sense. Why bring back Stein? The card doesn't promote a healthy gameplay like 100% of the time. It doesn't do that. It just doesn't make sense. Here, going for Traffic Ghost basically is another Saryuja, opening up 3 extra monster zones, going for triple Blaze Phoenix, and I believe this is more than enough burn damage already, yeah. Otherwise, again, going for your rank 8 and gaining those extra draws, right? So The deck is insane. Deck is definitely insane. It needs main deck answers, but other possibilities is you still have your backup plan, right? As a thought is something that I might want to add in the extra deck as well, but the extra deck is really packed. The Griffin package with Curious is not super mandatory. It's perfect. It's something perfect that you maybe want to side deck in game 2 or game 3, as in indirect searches for Eradicator or Imperial Order or deck dev, right? Those winning cards if you can get them off first turn. Well, first turn for your opponent, that is, during the second turn of the match. So the deck is basically insane. It doesn't make, even though, okay, you do have options to hard counter Cyberstein, but still, why bring it back? It doesn't make sense, right? Okay, guys, again, like always, feel free to leave feedback, and yeah, thanks for watching, and feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.